things. Okay, I cannot get wrapped up in the aesthetics right now, so we're gonna do it just like that. I'm trying. That looks worse. Okay, okay, much better. All right, so all right, study with me for the best plan of action or point of affections. Okay, this is for the highest good. All right, left side 10 of wands in reverse, and then right side 2 of wands in reverse. How funny is that? What like automatically popped into my head doing the calculations is this is 12. This is the hanged man energy, but also in reversal, which means like something like coming to awareness, enlightenment. It also points to 12, which its initial like vibe was like out of the 12 apostles there was Judas, so it's kind of like identifying that, but that's not like the real scope of it, because we know that that's kind of like a reality on its own. Anyway, let me just move some stuff over. Goodness gracious. All right, so 10 of wands in reverse. This is all to like I'm examining some legal paperwork, so I'm gonna muffle, like, you know, quiet some details, but I just feel like it's easier for me to study when like I'm put to the task, like kind of like moral support, you know, with my divine collective, my expanded divine collective of the infinite eight. I am opening the forum to you too to help me out. Thanks so much. All right, 10 of wands in reversal on the recipient side. Even though that's like a sound of manifestation, like in releasing any burdens that are not yours or anything that's extra, right? So that's on the recipient side, it's like, well, you gotta kind of like release these things that are like a no-brainer in order to be able to receive the incoming. Because you're like, oh gosh, that's nice, like a Lambo outside, and you're like, that's the keys belong to you, and you're like, like your hands and your arms are like filling your freaking bag lady, but like it's to the capacity where you're like every little finger is holding something, you know, and it's like mother. So anyway, just letting go of that. Okay, and then and so like there's some like soft and hard tones in action items. And I can't be afraid of it anymore. I feel like I'm at a point of clarity and feel goods and protection in order to approach these items. Like I still have a shit ton of bills to pay that are basics and all of those things, but like it's not a matter of getting angry at those things, but just looking at it as like, well, simultaneously I need to figure out this other stuff. I've given so much time in trying to figure out how to stabilize my finances, and I thought I was getting to that point, and you know, some trickery was added to the thing, and so it's gone on for too long. So now that I feel that it's a good time to approach this, I mean, the last couple of days, just to like tell you like straight up, I did feel like, well, I did pull some cards, and it was just like, go ahead and sign, just go ahead and sign, just put it through. Everything's good, everything's fine. Might not be to like the exact detail, but I mean of the reassurance that'll be fine, but energetically you're given like the big go ahead, so just do it. And I was like, oh god, what if there's like some, you know, fuckery in that too, you know, like in motioning things forward like so automatically. And so I just gave it a couple more days to like chill. So here we are. Okay, so there's that. Okay, so I'm doing this new method. I'm just layering thsee to like just get the notes collectively. Okay, and then on the right side, 2 of wands in reverse. Like, you don't know, I'm not exactly sure how to move about with like these unknowns, because as you know, let's say when you're hiring someone or even contemplating like a significant other, or even a transactional other, there's a lot to be determined there. So like, it may look good on paper, it may look good that they had their STD check, you know, on paper or whatever, but like, you don't know between when they got tested, even that's a fake like doctored statement, to like their activities between when it was taken to like the now moment of like getting it on, you know, like there's still that. Okay, so all right, so let's go ahead and figure this part out. okay? Because like you can hire somebody that looks good on resume and paper, but like they are shit stain galore, you know, when it comes to performance, when it comes to interacting internally and or externally. So let's get this thing going. Okay. Okay, so those are the header cards. Let's get a little bit of energy here. Clarification. These ones, oh my gosh, that's a lot. Three of Wands in reverse. It's here. Communication shall commence. Pinky swear I promise I'm there for you. Knight of Swords, very focused. Oh, accolades. And then Knight of Wands too in reversal. So, okay, like, yeah, like, okay, so let's say this part is internalized. Like in the very back corner, Tina's like, she's not feeling very, oh, freaking frick. Tina's not feeling very confident about it. And so you know what? Let me cover you, okay? Look, I'll cover her. She's good, okay? That kind of energy. Like, I'll stand for her. And then this very focused energy, and then like, you know, we're tight. Like, this is how I can back her credibility, you know, I'll communicate that, and then like, you know, so that's there, okay? This kept getting caught like on my right thing right here and the wire, like twice I dropped it and it fell like secured. So you know, like how people at least in movies and TV shows, they're like, you have to take off all your weapons or whatever, but then there's like a knife or a gun in the boot. And so it's kind of like a hidden like piece of communication, like the not the last resort, but like emergency, like I still have this to communicate. So even if communications are dropped or there's interference or like somebody that's trying to foul up your messaging or distract you through like even common dialogue or what seems to be innocent, you still got it. You still got the weaponry to carry through. So that's what this is saying for me. Okay, so this is the energy behind it. Alongside that, there are multitudes of like different alliances that I have here. One that are like for sure, okay? Some that are like newlywed energy, like, oh, she's fabulous. And then there's some that are like players too, like at the very, very end, the back of the line, like, you know, it's still good. So with a range of reports, like, what do you call it? Like, these are good rapport energies, like in different walks of life. So this is very good. This is my good jury. Anyway, so there's that. Like this. Where's the Chinese alcohol at? I don't know. Maybe you should ask somebody who's Chinese. Let's speak ignorance with ignorance. Anyway, so there's that. Okay, bottom of the deck, the Empress. Oh, see, you don't know who you're working with. And then the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. So it's kind of like there's a time lapse here rather than like a time crack. A time lapse. Okay. Okay. So let me get 3 takeaways for the Empress here before I start this. Okay, the High Priestess in reverse. Okay. The King of Wands in reverse, and then the Four of Pentacles in reverse. Okay, so like here, okay, so there may be some yucky energies present, but the most dominant, in fact, like overlord type of energy in its power, are that I have very like I don't know the words for it, very excellent, superior contacts that are very discreet, very undercover. These are highly networked psychics, fortune tellers, like there's different variations of gifted ones. And so I don't control the atmosphere of what's going on around me, but I do know that these are fail-safe, like backup generator energies to those that are in a pickle. In fact, like in my feed, I have this like weird vintage, creepy like pickle guy coming up into my energy. I don't understand. I'll put it on like one of my playlists, but like it's disturbing. Like, you know, like really just disturbing in like the gut area energy. And so uh I I know because it's so particular in its arrival who it's associated with. And so if anybody that is very much like bonded with me would sense that like weird, like questionable energy, like what the fuck. Yeah, so anyway, there's that. But that's getting kicked out. But this is very okay. We're just gonna. There's a reason why I have this energy by me as well as preceding. Okay, so let's go ahead and study here. Okay, okay. Okay. This letter is to confirm and specify the terms of our engagement with you and to clarify the nature and extent of the services we will provide. We will not represent you in any manner other than the below referenced matter. The engagement letter is an agreement between so-and-so and creates legal obligations for the both of us. This agreement will become effective when we receive the retainer fee and the copy of this engagement letter signed by you. In order to ensure an understanding of our mutual responsibilities, we'll ask that you confirm the following engagements. So services to be rendered is we will prepare one or more traces dividing the assets under a retirement profit sharing IRA, TSA, deferred compensation, savings plan, checkings and or savings account, collectively accounts from such and such a date, or for more recent statements provided for the following. Okay, so then we have the accounts named, and then the statements needed. In order to share, we will need statements, preferably quarterly, annual, for the following periods that have not already been provided to the law offices, blah, 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 for this period, if not already provided. Now, before I continue further, okay, let's just translate a little bit of like some pointers here just to keep in mind. So there's, this is a neutral party, and they are meant to provide services that are kind of like in sequence to what was provided in the official judgment. Okay, so okay. So being that it's a neutral party, there's going to be no representation for either party, but rather a processing unit, okay? So I can send you a link, okay, to send the statements, okay, da, 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 da. Or you can do that physically. Okay, scope of the services. We shall trace amounts from the above referenced accounts and calculate the separate and community property interest amounts and or percentages for the benefit of each party. Where information is missing or incomplete, we may have to use estimates or other types of analysis in extrapolating and determining the conclusions. In this regard, we may suggest or clarify various approaches and methods of action that may assist us in reaching the amounts and or percentages related to the separate and community property interests in the above accounts. We will not provide any attestation with the accounts, and the work performed does not constitute an audit in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards for accounting and review services. So this is the part where it gets wordy here, so give me a second. Okay. Okay, will not provide. Okay, I have to attestation. Evidence, proof or something, witnessing. Okay, that makes sense. Attest, is, what first word is witness for me. So, okay. With the accounts, and the work performed does not constitute an audit of using these generally accepted accounting principles, basically, in this avenue. Um, so that's the part where I'm just a little confused on. Okay, in this regard, we may suggest or clarify various approaches and methods. Okay, so they can speak to the methods that they use. Okay. But from what I'm understanding, like if this goes back to court, then they cannot provide testimony to validate their work. That's what it looks like here. Like it's kind of like something that protects them, a statement that protects them. It's that's the part that I don't understand here. Okay, here. Let me see here. Okay, so okay. Estimates and or types of analysis and extrapolating. Okay, in this regard, we may suggest or clarify various approaches and methods of action that may assist us in reaching the amounts and or percentages related to the okay, so that suggests transparency in how they're calculating, but they cannot validate as to does not constitute an audit in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards for accounting and review services. So why don't they use those methods? That's the weirdest thing. Like, okay, generally accepted accounting principles are like the best practices, right, within that area. So if that is synonymous with what they're using here, but they cannot validate that it is in accordance with those measures in this industry, then like that does not feel good. That does not feel good. Okay, so let's move further. Okay, services cannot include the valuation of benefits in a plan or the valuation of benefits to offset one spouse's interest in one plan against the value of another plan or asset. Okay, so there's limitation on their consult. They can only speak to what the methodology in their methods, the rationale in their methods, but they cannot provide consult. They can't handhold you and say, okay, I think you should do this. I think you should do that. I think it's to release any kind of liability to, favoring one, in representation of either party. Okay, let's move forward. The services in connection with these traces and separate and community property calculations does not include any procedures designed to discover defalcations and or irregularities should they exist. So I had to look up defalcations, and it says the misappropriation or theft of funds or assets by a person entrusted with them, such as an employee or trustee. Essentially, it is a form of embezzlement where someone steals money and or property that they were legally or professionally responsible for, often leading to financial loss or fraud. Okay, so let me see. Okay. The core of defalcation is a dishonest taking or misapplication of funds or assets. Okay. Such discoveries can result in severe legal and financial consequences for the perpetrator. Okay, all right, so let's go back to that. Okay, so what does it say? The services in connection with these traces and separate community property calculations does not include any procedures designed to discover, fraudulent activities should any exist. That's the part of hesitation, because in another document, which is also a third party that's to be neutral, says in their statement that the calculations, it is highly recommended that we kind of like verify and like just check the calculations to ensure that they are correct. And if they are, there's any like errors in those calculations, that they are to be rectified and to be guarded and protected to its true owner. Okay, so it shows that with the main third party, that modifications can be made if um, if they can be proven to be legit. And so this other third party is brought in, or like is in consideration for those validation points. However, this is showing, it's kind of releasing that possible liability. Does not include any procedures designed to discover. Okay. So, okay, the other thing about that is that the wording here is that, okay, the services in connection, okay, with, like, let's say these calculations, does not include any procedures designed to discover defalcations or irregularities should they exist. So they may not be like set up that way, but it may also, let's say it may, like by surprise, be supportive in pointing out those, irregularities and or possible fraudulent activities, or, that. Okay, so that's fine. Okay, he's just providing the calculations and numbers. Here's how I got them. I've been doing this as a profession for umpteenth years or decades or whatever, so that's my specialty. And so there's enough credibility in that avenue, but there's no direct link to say, like, it's just to kind of protect this particular third party in processing. Anyway, moving forward, cooperation. So I feel good with that. Okay. Cooperation. It is your responsibility to provide all the information required for the preparation of complete and accurate traces and calculations, which I do have. Okay. You agree to make full and truthful disclosure of all relevant facts regarding the subject matter of this engagement, to cooperate with requests for documents, and to pay promptly for all fees and charges. The estimate is based on anticipated cooperation from you and the assumption that unexpected circumstances will not be encountered during the engagement. The estimate is based on anticipated cooperation for you and the assumption that unexpected. Okay, so that little like verbiage, just to note that there are some things that we just don't control. So these are quotes based on, like, the flat quote is based on the assumption that things are going to run, accordingly. Maybe I like have a speed bump, but it's not going to have like huge snags. And so, like, if it does, encounter court, or, any kind of like long-standing winding roads of, tangents, then expect there to be additional fees. That's what I'm guessing here. Okay, that's what I'm understanding. Okay, so if significant additional time is necessary, we will keep you informed of any issues we encounter, and we will stop work immediately, and all issues and possible pricing changes will be discussed with you and mutually agreed upon before we continue working on this engagement. Okay, so compensation. Our fee for these services will be based upon the amount of time required at the standard billing rates of such and such per hour, and not contingent on any particular outcome. All invoices are due and payable upon presentation. We estimate that our fees for all these services will be X amount, okay? To begin work, we will require a refundable retainer of X amount of dollars to be applied to the final billing. This retainer is not intended to be an estimate for the total cost of the work performed, of course, because the aforementioned, okay? We accept credit card and or e-check payments, okay? So here's the link, Okay, so one little side note, like, up in my fucking brain, is I can't even, like, with all this, I don't have the funds to pay the flat fee, or even half of it, or even a quarter of it. I don't I mean, like, I'm looking at the base level of, like, my utility bills. Like, I can't even pay one this month. I, um, I don't, or how do I say it? It's not that I can't. It's that currently I do not have the funds to pay anything. um, yeah. So that, I mean, I'm alive. These matters don't, like I said, they're so compounded. Like, I don't know what people expect out of me in, like, throwing, trying to throw down with me energetically and binding or whatever. But, like, they must be extreme dum-dums if they think that I'm gonna unalive myself for such matters. Like, talk about the underestimated. So anyway, let's see here. So no estimate. Our fees are not set by law, but are negotiated with you. All fees herein are not an estimate of the total fees that may be incurred. It is impossible to determine the total amount of time that will be needed to complete the traces and separate and community property interest calculations, which is fine. I mean, I have all of the documentation that's needed for my side, and it's not even that much. So, that's like, that's fine. But let me see. Additional compensation. You agree to pay additional fees at our hourly rate. Okay. Time spent engagement should follow. Okay. So the expected time covered by this flat fee is 0.1. We are required to appear in mediation, court, and or deposition, excuse me, in conjunction with this engagement. Okay, so that cleared that up. Okay, in addition, there will be a minimum of 4 hours charged for this type of engagement. Wait. You agree to, okay. That's not for the flat fee. This is for anything like extra. Okay, got it. Okay, so 2. Oh, sorry, my mind wandered off for a second because I looked at the chats and I was like, oh God, here we go again. So okay, so 2. We are required to provide substantial negotiation, research, analysis, or redrafting in conjunction with this engagement. 0.3, excessive phone calls, correspondence, emails, and or meetings. So, okay. So, right to terminate. You have the right to terminate the services agreed upon by this engagement at any time without cause by providing written notice stating the effective date of such termination. The termination of this engagement will not affect the obligation to pay the fees for all services rendered as provided herein up to the effective date of termination. Okay. So one thing that I can note is that I can at least sign this document as a premeditated value, as like, I value your your potential contributions to this type of closure. However, I do not have the funds right now. Therefore, it is not absolutely 100% binding in proceeding with such activities. However, to validate that, once I get the money in, after paying bills and all of that, having proper sustenance, and then I can immediately pay and get this stuff going. That's what I can do. Okay, so at least I will get at least a step closer to keep that on file, so that if I should need to, it's set up. The table's set. Okay. Documents. Okay, you agree that any documents and or written materials provided by you shall be returned to you within 30 days after the completion of our work. I'm so glad that they do that. That should be said. Like, that's proper ethics, I would say, in practice, because I'm telling you, I have met with a paralegal at one point, and it seemed so, it seems so, like, coincidental what kind of fuckery was involved with that. In fact, I think I have her business card, that I left in cobwebs on a window, and it just got, like, I think her business is not only shoddy, but it deserves to get, like, fucked with, because she was not right. I don't even want to tell you, like, get into it, but basically one of the things that she did was she in order to make me feel like I didn't request this, but she volunteered to show me somebody else's records, like a thick binder. Actually, 2 cases that she had worked on, all confidential information from her clients. Again, a paralegal. I think her name was Cynthia, and I think she was based out in Norwalk. But anyway, let's see here. I knew that there was something absolutely wrong with that. She was buying time because that was my last lifeline before I engaged in like the next steps forward. And this was during the discovery process, I believed, when ROGS, ROGS, I think that's what it's called. Yeah. When it was my turn to like have to request that from the other parties. So I ran out of time. She held me there. Like, oh God, it was okay. Let's not talk too much about it. Somebody's handling that one, I know. So anyway, she showed me confidential information from 2 other people that relied on her, paying customers, paying clients. Like, holy crap. Anyway, that's what I am very thankful that this person is putting that in there. Okay. Anyway, confidentiality. All written and oral information and statements provided by you under this engagement constitute confidential information, regardless of whether such information was provided before and after this engagement, or how it was provided to you. Let me read the part quietly now because I didn't know this part. Okay. Okay, so it's regarding all statements relating to the aforementioned corresponding calculations. Okay. Okay, so the hard details are confidential. The obligation to keep this information confidential will survive the expiration or termination of this engagement, and those obligations will last indefinitely. Okay. 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 Okay, disclaimer of guarantee. Nothing in the engagement letter and nothing in our statements to you shall be construed as a promise or guarantee about the outcome of your matter. We will, I have, because they have to put that in there, I have a feeling that people are like, I thought you were going to get me more. I thought you were going to give me justice. For me, this is my like Virgo part of me. We're like, I just want to get it right, accurate, and even if somehow it is less than the original estimate, then at least I can kind of RIP knowing that it was done correctly. Case closed, move on. Because that's the way I am. That's the way I am. So that's my whole thing in the matter. All right, so let's see here. But like, with spirit, it's kind of like sometimes you just close books. You call certain losses, and then you just move on, and then you don't have to think twice about it. Like, that's the way it should really go. But if you have historic evidence which shows like tomfoolery, then you just gotta spend a little bit more time with this. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so our comments about the outcome of your matter are expressions of opinion only. Okay, so that's sweet. That's sweet. Okay. We have not made and we make no such promises or guarantees. Yeah, that's definitely. So that's sweet because it's like I'm a person too. I've dealt with many cases with people, with faces, with families, with children behind it. So of course we have, bedside etiquette, bedside manner. But just know that that's coming from person to person, not representative or, firm to, coming from that role. Okay. So if the foregoing fairly sets forth your understanding. Please sign the enclosed copy in this letter in the space indicated. Return it to... Okay. All right. I can do it! One thing signed. Okay, all right. 2:39 p.m. Okay, next one. Ooh. Can I? Yeah? Hold on. Okay, now, this other one, I can sign because it outlines the procedure. I don't know. Now the other, so there's two other documents. There's one for processing my remaining assets, and then one for processing their remaining assets. Okay, so we can get 2 out of 3 done today. Okay, 2 out of 3. Okay, open the document. Okay. Oh, so let's get a card in waiting. So, what do you say about the conclusions? The Magician in reverse. Clarified, but 6 of Swords. 3, 6, 10, wooden, shear, there's go. Something, script, okay. That's a clarifier to that. So it's kind of like, especially from the last establishment that I came from, the nightly establishment, there were just a lot of subtleties that I really just wanted to have like a regular, normal life. You know, where I didn't have to constantly watch my back or think that somebody's fucking me over when they're being nice to me. Yeah, I really wanted that. Let's say I would forgo my romantic life, like, you know, just to have that. Which is like funny because like if you're Catholic and you like have to give up something for Lent, you're not supposed to give up something that seems like all too easy. Like, oh, I'm gonna give up, drinking soda, for Lent. And it's like, you don't even drink soda, honey. You know what I mean? Like, so it's supposed to be somewhat of a challenge, something that you can set forth that you can like truly attest to, honestly. Not something that you've already like that has no weight, relevancy to sacrifice. And so here, yeah, I know I live the practice, so it's human, but it's also kind of silly, for me to request such things. But it's not silly for me to request those things. Anyway, here we are. The Magician in reverse. Just met a lot of shitty people. A lot of shitty people. Yeah. So when I see the Magician in reverse, it's like, who the fuck am I gonna have to bury now, you know? So there's that. Okay, let's get this straight. Okay, so look at this. Okay, so looking at the 6 of swords here, there's actually 6 swords embedded in the boat. Again, it's ascended. Okay, so this is navigating with like kind of incognito. Okay, because like it's kind of like you can't trace the tracks of the navigation because it's ascended. So there's less of the ripple effect here. Okay, so it's like navigating carefully without having to disturb the waters, draw attention, but it's also like just getting through it, and like it's like a quiet escape. That's what it is. Like, this is refugee energy. A magician in reverse. On the left side, though, I mean, for the first initial card. So, okay, in determining there's a 6 of wands right there. I mean, 6 of swords right there. This is an oar. It is made out of wood. This we can now say that there's, you know, because last time it was like 5 of swords there, and then the 6th sword was here. But now we can safely say that is wand energy. So then we look back here. Okay, so wand stuck in water. Okay, there's the wand right there. It's lit. Okay, so lit upon navigation. So sometimes, like when I see like the Ace of Swords or whatever, or the Queen of Swords, yes, you can sign right there. It depends. Like I don't want to give you the actual formula of determination because I don't want to encourage any other fuckery, because I will have to delegate. Discipline accordingly. Okay. So, the Magician in reverse. Oh, damn, this is good. Okay, all right. Okay, I'm like, tell me what is it that I need to get from this? And then so I'm looking at this. Okay. So, okay, there's the wand. Everything is lit. It's kind of like a mist of water, intuitive bodies. You don't know what lays underneath. However, you know, the sword that we're mentioning here, it's like, okay, there you go. Here, you can, it's fine, Tina. But look, there's the hilt. It's like a boat. Do you see that? It's like a boat. So, yes, you can, okay, with what we just recognized, yes, it is okay to sign. It'll help you navigate appropriately, okay? Sure, because there's a lot, you know, smoke signals, but it's like beneath the surface. Do you understand? Okay, I'm so excited I might spray out of my nose, so let me go ahead and blow my nose. Excuse me. Okie dokies. Oh, excuse me, I need some water. Alright. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oopsie. Making stuff. Alright, so there's that. Oh, okay. Screensaver. Okay. Okay. All right. Just good. Every time I feel it feels like so much, I gotta like pull it together. You pull it together, Tina. Pull it together. I know you're feeling weak, but basically they're saying that's kind of like that's old jizz. That's crusty. I didn't know they were gonna say it like that. I was just channeling, but you know, it's basically an old vibe. That's stuff that's like remnant from like yesteryears. Even if it's just yesterday, that if it's like a fresh thing, it's like it's old stuff. You know. basically old too. So even if it's yesterday, it's old and dusty, it's crusty, it's done. Okay, so like we understand the nature of the beast in Oh my goodness, I'm back. I'm back with a vengeance. Just kidding. All right. Okay, so we're back. We're back here. Okay, we're gonna get 2 out of 3. Is that good? Yes. No. Yeah. All right, we can do it today. All right. So the other parties thing here. Okay. Okay. So it has the legal paperwork portion. Okay. So and so shall be the so and so for preparation of this division order. This order creates and recognizes the existence of an alternate payee's right to receive a portion of the participant's benefit payable under the retirement benefit plan under Family Code so-and-so. Following plan approval shall be this, shall I say it? No. Okay, established by law. Okay, da-da-da-da-da-da. All right, shows several acts in order to back that thing up. Yeah, attorney style. Okay, so to the extent of the name of the plan differs from the name cited in the judgment, it may be attributed to a merger, acquisition, or name change of the entity offering the plan with incorrect nomenclature used in the judgment or a missed retirement accounts asset omitted in the judgment. Okay, so this covers like COVID. Oh my gosh, COVID bullshits. Hold on. There we go. All right, so there's that. Yeah, things that happen in COVID, like some businesses got cannibalized or moved over, but that's us covering that. Okay. This order is entered under authority granted under the domestic relation laws of here. Okay. It gives you the plan, the ID, the contact, the participant, and their contacts. Okay. The alternate payee hold on. The person named as alternate payee, okay, is me. Meets the definition of alternate payee under the code. Okay, gave me all of my contacts. Looks right. Okay, the relationship to participant. Okay, where are we here? Okay. Okay, the participant alternate payee shall notify the plan administrator in writing of any changes in their information, marital history, blah, blah, blah. Definitions. Alternate payee. The alternate payee is any spouse, former spouse, child, or dependent of a participant recognized. Child? Why would they have the child in there? Okay, that's fine. Because they're only naming me, not our children. Okay, fine. Okay. And it would definitely go against the judgment if it were to be tried to have my child, like, pay our children liable for payment. Like, fuck that. Anyway. Or other dependent of a participant recognized by a domestic relations order as having a right to receive all or a portion of benefits payable under the plan regarding the participant. So the segregation date is like the point of separation basically. Assigned to the alternate payee is transferred from the participant's vested account balance to a separate account established by the alternate payee under this order. An assignment as this as of the segregation date, assigns a portion of the participant's current vested account to the alternate payee. Wait a minute, what the fuck? Sorry, maybe I just... Sometimes you think you got it, like, figured out, and then... So I'm just jogging my memory, so I think I'm getting all confused there. Anyway, the segregation date is the date the amount assigned to the alternate payee is transferred from the participant's vested account balance to a separate, okay, an assignment as of the segregation date assigns a portion of the... Oh, it's not the separation date. It's segregation date is like when funds are, you know, transferred. Mm-hmm. An assignment as of the segregation date assigns a portion, okay. So, okay, the valuation date. The valuation date is the date of separation, is based on the date of separation. Participants' value, vested account balance will be valued to determine the alternate payee's designated portion on the terms of this order. So the vested account balance, the participant's vested account balance is the dollar amount the participant has a non-forfeitable right to receive from that fund. Okay. So that's the designated amount that we're working with. Benefit payable to the alternate payee, straight percentage. This order assigns the alternate payee the amount equal 50. Okay, so it has a certain percentage of the participant's vested account balance under the plan as of the valuation date, which is the separation date. Okay, from the valuation date to the, let me see here. Okay, or from the valuation date or separation date to the segregation date, the payable date, the amounts assigned to the alternate payee will include a prorata of share of earnings, losses, and expenses. If there is an outstanding loan balance as of the valuation date, where are you here? The loan balance will not be included to calculate the total vested account balance to be divided, which means the account will be reduced by the outstanding loans on the account as of the valuation date before the alternate payee's portion of the benefit is determined, which is incorrect. I mean, okay, so that part needs to be modified here, because there was already an agreement to the terms that I was already penalized by having to pay out my portion of community funds from a loan taken out against his 401k. Yeah, so that has to be omitted, or at least stated that that is rectified and handled. Okay, so that's one note. Okay, participation is solely responsible for any loan payments remaining on the account after segregation day. So that's what I'm covering there. Okay. Equalization payment. Immediately prior to establishment of separate account for alternate payee or distribution of the above amount to the alternate payee, the amount awarded in the preceding paragraph shall be reduced by the certain payable, which has to be also modified according to what was last agreed upon. Okay. So what pages are this? 3 and 4. Okay. Said amount does not adjust for gains and losses prior to the account segregation date. After the funds are segregated into the separate account for the alternate payee, the funds will adjust in gains and losses. Such amount is an agreement between parties to offset the asset's debts, okay, according to the parties' judgment. Both parties' judgment. Transactions occurring after the valuation date, again, separation date, including contributions, loans, or cash outs, are the responsibility of the participants, okay? And shall have no effect on the amount awarded to the alternate payee, which makes sense. That's after the valuation date, that date of separation. It makes sense, okay. If transactions after the valuation date, we'll say valuation date, okay, so that like I can, okay. If transactions after the valuation date have caused a balance reduction and insufficient funds exist for the amount payable to alternate payee, the plan administrator shall immediately inform all parties in writing the participant shall be personally responsible for reimbursing alternate payee for any shortcomings. Any benefit not allocated to the alternate payee herein are participants' separate property. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. Okay, form of payment. All benefits not allocated to alternate payee herein are participants' separate property. Okay, so I have to keep note of any possible issues like fuck-ups with inheritance or pension, like Social Security, all of that. I need to understand as to whether or not that's like going to be like any benefits. It's not like hidden in that arena. I think that's too short of a statement to have to like act as like a hidden catch-all, like blanket statement to all benefits. Okay, so because I think I'll be okay because it says any benefits not allocated to alternate payee herein, like in this discussion, AB's discussion, you can see your way out. Other stuff, we can address you later. Our participants' separate property. Okay, so I'll take it as that. Yeah. All right, form of payment. The amount payable to the alternate payee under this order shall be paid to the alternate payee, okay, in any form available to the alternate payee under the plan. After the alternate payee's awarded amount is segregated into a separate account, such amount shall adjust for the pro rata shares of earnings, losses, expenses, and the account segregation date to distribution of the alternate payee. The pro rata, I don't know, share of each fund will be credited to the account of the alternate payee, except as otherwise provided by the order. Any transactions after such valuation date shall be transactions of the account holding the underlying asset causing the transaction only. What in the heavens? Okay, let's start that again. The pro rata share of each fund will be credited to the account of the alternate payee, except as otherwise provided in this order. Any transactions after such valuation date shall be transactions of the account holding the underlying assets causing such transaction only. What the heck does that mean? Okay, you got me. You got me. Okay. What am I reading? Okay. We're gonna get through this. Okay? Except as otherwise provided in this order, any transactions after, separation date shall be transactions of the account holding the underlying assets causing such transaction only. Oh, It's kind of like mind your own business transactions. Like after the valuation date, like the date of separation, like those are transactions that hold on. What the fuck? Breathe. We're gonna breathe. I don't know. What does it mean? What does it mean, Mama? Okay. We'll try again. What does it mean? All right. You shall tell me. Provided in this order. Any transaction after shall be transactions of the account holding. Huh? Okay, I'm gonna take it as a first impression. Does that mean that it's like a mind your own business kind of transaction after the date of separation? Like it doesn't fucking matter. If you see any activity, just know that it was caused by the account holder or like the bank fees or whatever it is. It's just transactional only. It has nothing to do with you know, this stuff. Can I say that? Yes? No. Yeah. No. All right. So once you assert a little bit of levity in your situation, it can clear up any like frustration, you know, blockages, so that you can feel out the energy. So if you can't like logically like I don't know, at least I can rely on like my vibe, like, oh yes, no, you know. So yay. Okay, so I can move on. Any fees, if any, charged by the plan relating to the determination and processing of the order shall be paid equally from the participant and the alternate payee's accounts, which means it's like a 50-50 thing in processing this, whether there's any bank fees on their side or my side. It's split 50-50. Yeah. Okay. If splitting processing fees violates plan procedures shall be followed, and the parties shall be personally responsible for reimbursing any costs directly to the other spouse. So the fees are equally allocated. Why would splitting fees violate plan procedures? That's the weird thing about it. Oh, I see. It'll still like balance out anyway. Okay. Okay. All right. Still be 50-50. It's just a matter of like timing of it. It's fine. Okay, moving on. Okay, notation 3 and 4, pages 3 and 4. Okay, commencement. The alternate payee shall be eligible to receive payment when administratively reasonable following the determination. This order is a order, and the execution by the alternate payee and receipt by the plan administrator of any required forms prescribed by the plan for distributions. Okay, they're just gonna say that like the funds will be available once verified by our plan's like processing. Like there's a like a regular turnaround time that you should build into this. It's not like undetermined. Okay, all right. Death procedures. If the participant predeceases the alternate payee after qualification of this order, payment of the alternate payee's share will be made under this order. Payment of the... Okay. All right, so like if he dies before I do, before we can like follow through with the processes, it's saying that payment of alternate payee's share will be made under this order. Like things will still commence. It's not going to hold up anything. Well, it's not going to like stop anything, okay? If the alternate payee dies before the full payment to the alternate, wait, if the alternate payee dies before full payment to the alternate payee has been made. Okay, so there's a typo there in administrative. I don't think that's the attorney, that's the paralegal. So it should read, okay, are we still on page 4? No, now we have to modify page 5 on there. Okay, if the participant, right? Yeah. Oh, so I think it's supposed to be inverse to that. Okay, so if the alternate payee dies before the full payment to the participant has been made. Wait, let me see here. The amount unpaid shall be made to the alternate payees, yeah, designated beneficiaries, which should be the kids. If none, though, then under the default beneficiary provisions of the plan, which should be immediately to the kids. Fantastic, okay? Don't worry, don't worry. Okay, retention of jurisdiction. Okay, 3, 4, and 5 needs to be edited. Okay. Okay. Retention of jurisdiction. This matter arises from the action for divorce or legal separation in this court under the case number set forth at the beginning of this order. This court has jurisdiction to issue this order. Okay, and so because the law said so. If the plan administrator determines this order is not a let's say appropriate, both parties shall cooperate with the plan administrator in making the changes for it to become qualified. Determines this order is not a qualified, okay. Okay. All right. This includes signing all necessary documents for the purpose of this court expressly reserves jurisdiction over the dissolution proceeding involving the participant, the alternate payee, and the participant's interest in the plan. Okay. So we should expect this type of verbiage mirrored on my part. This is their part right now. Okay. Limitations under the section blah blah blah. This order does not require the plan to provide any type of form of benefit or any option not otherwise provided under the plan. So it's not required to provide any other alternative. Like that's not the plan administrator's job. That's no. Okay. Does not require the plan to provide increased benefits. Okay. So therefore the plan the plan administrator should also, even though that they are employed to kind of manage the assets of the account holder, they're still meant to remain a third party in processing this. So they cannot like favor the participant in their calculations to make them better off. It should just be straight processing. Okay? Yeah, it's the same. Okay. Does not require the payment of benefits to an alternate payee required to be paid to another alternate payee under order terms or under another order determined to be, within the same category. Okay. So it's kind of like you can't just like jimmy it and say like, oh, instead like outside of the matters of being deceased, there's like you can't like say, oh, just put it towards this, just put it towards that bill. Okay, that makes sense. In casual terms, that's what I was saying. Okay, taxation. Okay, for sections 402 and 72 of the I wanted to say S, but Internal Revenue Code, any alternate payee who is a spouse or former spouse of the participant shall be treated as a distributee of any distributions or payments made to the alternate payee under the order and will have to pay the appropriate federal, state, and local income taxes on such distributions. So that makes sense. I mean, any movement of money basically transferred is going to be taxable. Just like an FYI. FYI. Okay, constructive receipt. We're almost there. Okay. Neither party shall accept any benefits from the plan which are the property of the other party. If the plan administrator inadvertently pays to the participant any benefits assigned to the alternate payee under this order, the participant shall forthwith return such benefits to the plan. That's what I'm saying. Like, all will be corrected, okay? If the plan administrator inadvertently pays to the alternate payee any benefits not assigned to the alternate payee under this order, the alternate payee shall forthwith also return such benefits to the plan. Okay, it's good. So, like, no fighting, okay? No fighting. The court reserves jurisdiction for all issues relating to the misallocation of such debits or credits between the alternate payee and the participant. Okay. So the wonderful, like, flexibility in this is that we can do, like, swap, okay? But then you have to think about, like, okay, the fees involved, okay? So it's like 50-50 there, 50-50 there. Whereas I think with the movement of funds, if we were to, like, if there's, like, an excess in one area, okay, let's say, like, let's say one person owes more than the other, then they can just, like, write off a certain amount and move the extra funds, you know, just make one movement. Therefore, one, is that right? One set is taxed, therefore a lower amount of fees for both parties, lower amount of taxation and or bank fees, at least bank fees, but taxation, yeah, I think that's how it could go. But anyway, let's move forward. Okay. Effect of the plan termination. If the plan is terminated, the alternate payee may receive his or her portion of the participant's benefits as stipulated herein under the plan's termination provisions for participants and beneficiaries. So, let's say 401k, like, no more, okay? They're still payables. They're still, like, yeah, it's still protected. Okay. Certification, okay, of necessary info. All payments made under this order shall be conditioned on the certification by the alternate payee and the participant to the plan admin may reasonably require from such parties to make calculation of the benefit amounts contained herein. All payments made under this order shall be conditioned on the certification by the alternate payee and the participant to the plan administrator of the plan. Oh, see, like, again, what is it? What do you call them? Paralegals? Like, they're not even, like, they're not, like, dum-dums, I swear. All you gotta do is just read and just, like, mad lib it. But it doesn't make sense. It should read, plan to the, payee, alternate payee, and the participant to the plan administrator of the plan, not on plan administrator to the plan administrator. Like, it's not crazy enough. Can you imagine, like, somebody with ESL, like, fucking, you know, okay, may reasonably require from such parties to make calculation of the benefit amounts contained herein. Okay, so it's like, all payments shall be verified by each party directly to the plan account people. Okay. So if they request, you know, certain statements, you comply and you give. Okay. Okay, so if that's the case, then I can request the actual documentation of these statements from the participant's plan. I was wondering, like, how the fuck am I gonna have to, like, are you kidding me? Like, the texts that I receive, the emails that I receive, it's like from such participant, like, yeah, I'm really gonna get statements from that. No. So they're saying that I can work directly with the plan admins. That the plan may reasonably require from such parties to make the calculation. I mean, that's just protecting the measures of compliance for the plan administrator. But equal consideration should be provided. Like if I'm providing that, I mean, to verify, I should be able to have the copies as well. Okay, so whatever. Let's move on. Let's not hesitate. All right, miscellaneous provisions. 10 more minutes. Okay. The court shall retain jurisdiction over this matter to amend the order to establish or maintain its qualification as an order under such and such a code, to make any orders to effect an equal division of the community interest herein. Okay. We're just talking about the community interest of this portion of assets and properties. So again, do not get muddled in. What about pension? What about Social Security? What about possible fuckery with inheritance? You know, like those are remaining things. Like, yeah. So let's move forward. Facsimile and electronic signatures shall be accepted in lieu of the originals. Okay. Okay. This stipulation can be signed in multiple identical counterparts, and each signature will be deemed an original without all signatures having to appear on the same signature page. Oh, you know, like, I'm so glad that they have verbiage like that, because, you know, kind of holdups people have in, like, how do I say it? There's a lot of last minute things that happen, so not all signatures will appear on the same, like, original document. But, like, they're saying all expressions of this document are considered, like, omnipresent in its vitality. So, if there's, you know, 2 signatures on one and then one on a separate duplicate copy, consider it like a done deal. And then I'll move forward to the judge for final signature and then transaction to be met. But let me double check here. Can be signed in multiple identical counterparts. Yeah. So it's saying that, okay, just give way. And then it's you sign, it is so ordered, then the judge writes, okay. We did it. It's 3:23 p.m. See, just sit down and do it. Okay, so now that we've, like, scratched that itch, we're gonna put it back upright because we're stronger now. And we're gonna put that, oh wait, no, I don't get to put it up until I do this, you know, at least the first signature. Okay, so what did it go in now? I don't know. What did it cut towards? The tower moment. Oh my gosh, look at that. See? Decisions. Okay, so 3, 4, and 5. 3 and 4 are about modifying against the most recent emailed agreements. 5 has 2 modifications, or it's 5 and 6, but it has, like, verbiage that needs to be corrected. It's just typos, basically. So you wonder sometimes, like, why people have jobs. Like, are you serious? Do you know how many, like, paralegal, like, pitfalls, variety, like, of sorts that I have encountered? And, like, you won't even offer me, like, a retail job? Are you fucking kidding me? So anyway, I'm meant to be doing what I'm doing for a reason. So let's with the anger, okay? We're good. I'm awesome at what I do. I'm phenomenal at what I do. And it's about time that I speak that. I can speak to what I do, okay? So, one thing you want to say to me? Expanded divine penalty, 5 of Wands. Like, I do not contest anything that you have said here, Tana. Fantastic. I like it. So, who's here? 0 people. Okay. So, I will have 3 takeaways from me on this one. First takeaway is judgment in reverse. Talk about that, okay? Okay. Clarified by 10 of Pentacles. Oh, damn. That's like a triple X right there. Hidden in plain sight. Okay. Second takeaway. Mine is Four of Swords. You can rest now. Okay. Clarified by the Fool card. Look, you are off on your new journey, Tina. Like, fantastic. Third takeaway is Four of Cups. What is that all about? Oh, you know what? It's kind of like, remember when you're kind of like, just kind of like playing dead, but you're just noticing what's going on in the neighborhood. It's like, don't mind me, I'm just sitting here in like with a little dunce cap, you know, don't worry. Don't worry. Like, yeah, nobody's gonna like pay attention to you after they laugh at you, like with egg on your face, basically, or, you know, like you're just kind of outside of like the slapstick and the sudden roar of comedy of like you being the brunt of it. It's like people like kind of like forget about you. Like that's kind of on off switch that some people have. And so it's like, okay, fine, I'll play the part, you know, don't mind me. This is just like another version of the Fool card, basically. Like the Jester, Fool card. Okay, you think you're making a fool out of me? Okay, I'm just sitting here. I'm set off on my new journey, okay? And this is like master number 44 sandwich right here. Like, it's respite, really, you know? Respite. Like, I'm sitting under a tree in some shade, and I'm just chilling here. So it is a different version of respite. Okay, clarified by Page of Pentacles. This is a decent investment that's going to bring about many blooms. In fact, I just was called to do something yesterday, with Hecate. And I told my inner community about that. I was just called to immediately let them know, of how effective it was, because, I'll post another thing separate about this, probably on my Instagram, or maybe like a little short film video with the photos and the explanation, briefly. Excuse me. Excuse you. That was a deep burp that shouldn't have happened. Anyway, clearing. So, yeah, so I did it, and last night, like late last night, as I was called to, and then this morning, I didn't think anything of it. I was just like, okay, just did it. This morning, I had like, total vibe change. And, there was like, first rose of the fall equinox, and usually that doesn't happen. It was like kind of miniature, but it was full, and it was in full bloom. And then as I was trying to take a picture of it, like, I noticed that there was a grasshopper, like, overseeing it. And then, prefixing that, there was, like, a ladybug, like, affront my doorway, you know, the front doorway area. And then, just like one beautiful, shiny ladybug, on new greenery. And then, so I was walking into like my patio area. That's when I was taking a picture of the bloom. But I noticed that my tree also had other blooms on it. Like all of a sudden, it went from no blooms one night, not even noticing that there were any buds that were ready, or buds anywhere. And like, I don't know, like anywhere from 6 to 10 blooms, new blooms out. That was awesome. So I thought I'd just mention that, because all of that happening, it just like it was all so sudden. I didn't see any of that coming, but that was wonderful. Nice words, so don't stress. Like, things are working out to plan accordingly, etc. So the yucky thing about it was that, like, when I was watering the plants with, like, the buckets of water from the leaks in my bathtub area, to kind of, like, if it's going to cost me an extra, you know, $250 a month for this leak, if not $300, I might as well, like, you know, use these buckets for something. And so anyway, repurposed. And what was I going to tell you? Shit, I don't remember, but I was just saying, don't stress, okay? Oh yeah, when I was watering it initially before I left, I saw that there, like, the greenery that was, like, the foliage that's normally, like, abundant in there, in a few pots, it was eaten up. I was like, oh, we have a mantis here. Cool. Okay. But then it could be a combination of crickets and mantis energy. So I was like, oh, cool, yay. It's serving purpose, and I know that there's a trade-off of more elevated, I don't know if elevated is the word, more, I don't know, extraterrestrial alliances, notations and alliances, because I saw a bunch of crows out again today that were, you know, sending me messages. And Hecate has certain favorites, but I don't think they're limited to just crows and ravens. I think just, like, blackbirds in general are mainly, you know, those that she delegates action items to. So anyway, thanks very much for all donations provided in and of light and love that reciprocate equally and therefore abundantly. But now this reading is officially over, I call back all my power, energy, essence, gift, strength, passions, etc. From those that call upon, cast, generate, bring, magnify, multiply, or any variation thereof, the aforementioned ill will, intent, thought, form, pattern, and or entity to pass through white light of the Holy Spirit for cleansings, for blessings, for reformatting to love and light and energy, and to be refortified in me, only me, has free, no doubt, and no attachment, except for all bonus points included. Thanks so much. Upon closing the portals in this reading, I send all energies back to their appropriate locations outside of mine with their appropriate karma stream, assisting with a sequence of rollout in light and love. I close the portals in this reading